All right, everybody. So good evening. So the class is currently being recorded. So for those of us who are having network issues, we can actually go back and listen to the record and gain the knowledge that will be discussed and shared tonight. So once again, I am your chief instructor, Golden Ubachukwu. All right. So we'll be discussing some few things about contractorship. So this is the introductory class, continuation of the introductory model for the Sage Contractor Masterclass TSCM, and we'll be seeing how we can wrap it up to cover some models in our training. All right, so I'm gonna go. So we talked about the cash flow quadrant. All right, we talked about the cash flow quadrant, and the reason we talked about it is because of its striking importance as a contractor. And in the cash flow quadrant, there are four major ways people earn money. We have the employees, we have the self-employed people, then we have the business owners, or what I would prefer to call the big business owners, followed by the investor. The employee is somebody who does the 9 to 5 every month, is being paid through a paycheck, and the self-employed person is somebody who works for himself. He's his own boss. You understand? So he organizes his own schedules and his own business and stuff like that. And we have the big business owner, and this person followed with the investor. They are on the right hand side of the quadrant, whilst we have those who are on the left hand side of the quadrant as the employees and self-employed people. Now, 95% of the world population are on the left hand side of the quadrant, meaning that 95% of the world populations are either employees or self-employed people. Meanwhile, 5% of the world population are big business owners and investors. And the funny and ironical thing about this whole story is that 95% of the world economy is controlled by the 5%, the 5% people who are the people in the right hand side of the quadrant, the big business owners and investors. They control 95% of the world economy. Now, meanwhile, the employees and the self-employed people, they only control 5% of the world economy. Now, I want this to sink down a little bit, so I'm going to try to rush it because I know we are on a recorded session where people would have to listen to this recording to follow up and understand what we are saying. But for the sake of time, because we spent the last 1 hour trying to get things right with network, so we are going to move further. All right, so now I want you all to understand something. Our educational system prepares us to become employees. All right, the whole going to school thing is basically designed from the 1800s during the Industrial Revolution to raise an army of machines, human machines who could do the job of, in this that are needed in these offices, organizations, or companies like that. All right, which is not a bad thing. All right, so if you think you're a career person, you want to do the 9 to 5, then it's all good. You can walk through the corporate ladder of success and you become the next big thing in your company. All right, so we have those who are the self-employed people. These people, they run their own business now, but the problem with the employees and the self-employed people is that they don't have their business system. Their business doesn't have the system that is required to create wealth. Their business doesn't have the system that is required to create wealth. Now, what do I mean by their business doesn't have the required system to create wealth? Now, the employee does not have any system to generate wealth. His system is simply time equals money. The day the employee does not go to work, he will not be paid. You understand? In many cases, you skip work for 3, 4, 5 days, you will not be expecting the company to pay your complete whole money. They will deduct something. Whether you fall sick, you have an accident, whatever thing that goes wrong, many companies, especially the capitalist companies with strict management protocols, they will ensure that they cut your salary to ensure that they are on the right side of the paycheck. All right. And once you're an employee, you don't have time freedom. Your time literally belongs to your boss, your worker, the company that owns you, that pays you, owns you. All right. So you have the self-employed people. These people, they work for themselves. So they have something that the employees don't have. They have time freedom. They can be able to reschedule their business, choose the kind of job they want to do. They don't answer to anybody and they only answer to themselves. Now, if you are following the American business capitalist system, every employee is paid 10% of whatever that they are generating for the company. Now, this means that if your company is paying you 10,000 naira, it means that you are generating 100,000 naira for your company, which doesn't sound fair to you and I. All right, it doesn't sound fair to you and I. All right, but for the self-employed people, whatever effort that they put into their business is directly proportional to whatever they are earning. All right, so it means that if they are putting 100% effort into their business, they are getting back 100% effort. There is no middleman, there's no corporate organization. All right, there is no boss that is trying to shut down or cut down their earning. Why? Because they are working for themselves, so they are their own boss. You understand? So that is one of the issues of, that is one of the advantages of being a self-employed person over being an employee. Now, but the thing about those people is that they don't have the formula for wealth creation. You understand? Because for you to be able to have wealth, you need to have systems in place. What are systems? Systems can be derived from the acronym SYSTEM. What is SYSTM? SYSTM simply stands for save yourself time, energy, and money. Save yourself time, energy, and money. Now, if you don't have a system in place in your business, you would end up being overworked. You will end up not making any profit, because why? In the long run, you end up not also making wealth, because why? Again, your business is tied to your personality. Your business is tied to your person. An employee and a self-employed person, they need their physical presence for their business to cooperate, for their business to work. They need their physical presence for their business to work. They need their physical presence for their business to work. All right? So an employee who doesn't come to the work today, his money is cut short. Why? Because he has a formula that time equals money. That same formula applies for the self-employed person. Time equals money. Let's give you an example. Who is a self-employed person? The person who is a barber is a self-employed person. The girl who does gele and the rest that owns a salon is a self-employed person. She works for herself. The barber works for himself. Now, there is one thing about this system. All right, it does not have the system to create wealth. And I'm discussing this to you guys as contractor. This is the beginning of being a sage contractor. You need to understand in what sector, in what segment, in what quadrant do you operate. Because I know many employees who are working as employees. I know many contractors rather who are working as employees. And I know many contractors who are working as self-employed people. They are on the left-hand side of the quadrant. All right, because they don't understand this basic discussion we are having tonight. Now, the barber who is a self-employed person, the day he gets sick, he cannot be able to open his office. He cannot open his shop anymore because he's sick. He can get malaria and typhoid. He cannot open his shop. All right, and because he cannot open his shop, his business is shut down. He will go there and say, I want barber. Barber no, they no open today. Why? He's sick. Now, because he's sick, he cannot be able to attend to his customers, and because he cannot attend to his customers, he cannot make money. All right, because his time is equals money. His business has to function when he's physically present. If he's not present, his business cannot function and thrive. The same thing applies to the young lady who ties gele, who makes hair, who does all those, makeup artistry and the rest of it. If she travels on Friday to the village to go join her sister's traditional marriage, she's going to close her shop for 3 days. Now, if this young lady is making an average of 5,000 naira per day, because she has closed her shop for 3 days, she has lost 15,000 naira in that week. Why? Because her business requires her physical presence. Her business requires her physical presence to perform. Her business requires her physical presence to thrive, to make money. Now, if your business is operating with such a system, you will not make money. You cannot make good wealth. All right? So one thing you need to do as a contractor to shift yourself from being an average size contractor into a sage contractor, you need to learn how to cultivate the mindset of the wealthy. And the mindset of the wealthy is fueled by the notion of leverage. What is leverage? Leverage is a simple idea wherein we can put a little effort and gain maximum results. You put small effort, you gain maximum result. That is the concept of leverage. All right, you put small time, you gain maximum time. You put small money, you gain maximum money. Whatever thing you put into a system that has leverage, and what qualifies a system is its ability to leverage. If what you call a system cannot leverage, then it is not a system. All right, so the purpose of system is to leverage, and you cannot leverage without the system. So they are intertwined. It's a paradox. They are intertwined. So understand this notion. So understand this. So this is what you need to understand as a contractor, as a sage contractor. Now, if you don't have a system in place, you are either an employee or a self-employed person, or you don't have any source of income at all. All right. Now, why is this very important? Now, I'm going to emphasize on this again. As a contractor, your job is not to do the job. This is a notion that we use in our class often. Your job is not to do the job. Your job is to get the job done. You understand? Now, as a contractor, you are not now. This training is not just preparing you as an individual to become a contractor. This training is preparing you to run a general contracting company. This is the idea. You are not the contractor. It is your business that is the contractor. You need to learn how to separate your individual personality from your business. That is why once you register your company as a limited liability company, it becomes an entity of itself. People cannot, if your business goes sideways or southways, people can sue you. They can only sue your business. So if your business gets bankrupt, people cannot take money from you. It is the business that is bankrupt and not you. This is a system that many people who are running building services and construction projects and contractors don't understand. Your business is a different entity. Now, many contractors we have in Nigeria, they take their business as their person. So you need to separate this idea. If your business must be making wealth and be making money without your physical contributions or effort or presence, then you need a system in place in your business. You need to transition from a what's it called again? You need to transition from stress is kicking in. You need to transition from come on now, go. What's wrong with you? You need to don't worry, this happens sometimes. Okay, just me and my system, they are putting it together. All right, so you need to transition from an employee or a self-employed contractor level into a big business contractor level. Now you can imagine just that small one has been making me freeze for the whole few minutes. All right, so this is what you have to understand. Now let's talk about the people on the right hand side of the quadrant, the big business owners and the investors that make up 5% of the world population and enjoy the 95% of the world economy. Now, these big business owners, there is something that they have that the people on the left hand side of the quadrant don't have. They have what they call system. And like I said, system can be defined with the acronym save yourself time, energy, and stress. Save yourself time, energy, and stress. Now, the reason why we are having this orientation model is because many people, they come into contracting with the philosophy of an employee. They come into contracting with the mentality of an employee. They don't know how to think like a business owner. That is why we are differentiating. That's why we are making this very clear. Because we are trying to make you understand that once you become a contractor, you are no longer an employee. You should not be having the employee mentality of 9 to 5. You are now an entrepreneur. You offer services. You run the construction, a building services and interior decoration. You run a general contracting company. That is the mindset we are trying to imbibe. Because many a times people come into such level of skill or career like this and they start thinking like an employee. So why we are making this very clear is because we want you to understand this is where this training is designed to position you. There are people who attend contractors training, if there's anything like that, but they only end up as self-employed contractors. Now, what the big business owners have that the people on the left hand side of the quadrant don't have is system. Now, whilst the employee and the self-employed people have their time in exchange of money, they exchange their time for money. What the big business owners do is that they have systems, and systems can be replicated in two ways. You can have people in form of systems, you can have money in form of systems. All right, but the one that is very easy to get is people. If you know how to utilize the people system, you will use that system to raise money and use that money to do the money system. All right, now I'm going to explain all of these things. Now, the big business owners, they have people who are working for them. The employee works for somebody else. the self-employed person works for himself, but the big business owners have people who are working for them. The employee exchange their time for money. The self-employed people exchange their time for money, but the big business owners, they exchange other people's time for money. They exchange other people's time for money, not their own time now, but they exchange other people's time for money. Now, the big business owners, you have people who is working for them. You can literally call those people employees. Now, these are the same people who on the left-hand side of the quadrant who exchange their time for money. Now, they work for who? They work for the big business owners who exchanges their own time for money. So you need to understand how this system works. You need to understand how the system works. It is something that the average Nigerian is not conscious about. That is why everybody is going to search for unemployment. I talked about yesterday, Nigeria currently has about 30 million unemployed graduates. 30 million. 30 million unemployed graduates. Now, this might not look like much to us because over the years, we've been accustomed to hearing big figures on radio. Say snake swallows 17 trillion, monkey chop 70 billion. So hearing words that end with illion, it doesn't stick more. But to put this in perspective, 30 million is more than the population of Belgium, more than the population of Burkina Faso, more than the population of Taiwan, more than the population of Mali, more than the population of Rwanda. Now, these are countries. So what the statistics mean is that the population of the unemployed graduates in Nigeria, people who don't go to school, who don't come out from the four walls of the higher institution of learning, but who don't have any job, they are enough to form another country. So if people are going out there looking for, there is no job anywhere. There is no job anywhere. All right? But this is the mentality that many Nigerians don't understand. They don't understand how businesses work. Do you know that you can own a bakery company, a bakery business without being a baker? Do you know that you can own a carpentry business, a furniture business without being a carpenter? Do you know that you can go into any form of business, set up a business without being a professional in that business? Do you know that you can own a hospital without being a doctor? Do you know you can own an automobile company without necessarily being a driver? Now, this is the part that our head freezes, because this was not what we learned in school. Because our educational systems and curriculum was designed to equip us with the knowledge to become effective employees and not transformational employers. So this is where we get it wrong. If not, if you understand the concept that it takes to become a contractor, you understand that there is no business that you cannot run. All you just need to know is to understand the business of the skill. All you need to know is understand the business of the skill. Now, before we go further, I would love to tell you my story. About 10 years ago, I learned a skill, a trade. All right, I've repeated this story several times, so I wouldn't want to go through the whole thing. So about 10 years ago, I learned a trade. One of the trade in the beauty industry. I learned POP, painting, screening, and the whole rest of it. So, but before then, I was already a photographer, a graphic designer, a web developer. I was into ICT. Then that's when we call it ICT. Now we call it tech. I was into ICT full time. You understand that my uncle was like, "Oh boy, go and learn handwork." I said, "Which handwork you want to make I learn?" He said, "Go and learn POP." And I was like, for all of the skills out there, it is POP that I'll be telling myself you want me to go and learn. But I never knew that God was orchestrating my steps. God was literally orchestrating my steps. So I went and I learned this trade for over a year. And by the time I came out, by God's favor, I got an employment in an oil and gas service firm where I worked for some time as one of the assistants to one of the managers there. It was until 2017, during the recession, that I was laid off, among other workers too, during the recession. It wasn't quite long. I exhausted all my emergency funds and my savings, trying to maintain my current lifestyle without any additional income coming in. And after the moment I was going to hit ground zero, I looked into my skill portfolio. I said, what can I do? Should I do graphics? Should I do web? Before I will get clients and the rest to be hard, because I've not been working on those stuff for a long time. But I was living in GRA there, Sunny Abacha Road here in Port Harcourt. And within the place I stayed, there were lots of beauty projects going on. And I said to myself, I had learned social skills some time ago. So I went into the site, met engineers, and I started working. It was very difficult for me to get POP jobs because why? These guys, these Togo Cotonou guys, they come in packs. They are sheep. They are wolves. They come in packs. They are always bringing their brothers. So it's very difficult for you to gain admission to work with them. But I started doing speeding jobs and other jobs. It was where I was that one of the engineers was speaking with an architect. I was doing speed in the room and they were like, I would love to do POP here. So I said, sorry for eavesdropping, but that POP that you people want to do is a skill I learned. I can do the job. They say, can you do POP? I said, yes, but the skill I learned. They said, okay, give us a quote. I gave them a quote. They gave me the job. And that became one of my first jobs. And it wasn't more than 3-6 months. Everybody within the local area I stayed, everybody was calling me POP. Nobody knew my name again. I was doing POP. That was what they called me. Because I was handling many jobs over there. So it was where I went to. Now, this is a story, the background story of how I became a contractor. It was one of the sites I went to, to do a POP job. And the woman came to me and said, Golden, do you know anybody that can do tiling and do plumbing? I said, ma, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. I said, I can do tiling. In fact, I do everything. I can build house. In fact, I can do mansion. That was my confidence. And the confidence was backed with knowledge. I can do all things. So this woman gave me the job. Now, the privilege I had in working in site was that I had to meet lots of professionals. So when I was working, I would exchange contact with tiler, with plumber, with mason man, with engineer. So I had contact, I had people. So I reached out to somebody and I was like, oh boy, I brought into the place, how much you go use to this thing? The person told me, 50,000. I said, man, that's not too much. I called somebody else, somebody told me 80,000. I said, I ain't know too much. I called somebody else, the person told me 100,000. I came to the guy who came for 80,000. I said, oh boy, how much you go do? And last, he said, make I give him 45. I said, oh boy, na 30 I will give you. He said, my man, I'm going to make him 35. I said, okay. I went to go and tell the madam, we can do this job, but this job costs 100,000. She said, it's expensive. I said, that's it. I can even give you the number, the person that said 100,000. And he negotiated and we did the job for 80,000. So imagine when I paid somebody 35 and I had 80,000. That's more than 50% of the deal. That's one of the ways I became a contractor. All right. Now I want to explain that. But before I explain that, let me tell you something. So I was going to different sites. I was working in different sites. All right. And I realized I learned something. The Holy Spirit was trying to teach me something. I learned something. There are many skilled men like myself who had learned a trade. In fact, many of them spent 2-3 years learning a trade, and extra 1 year to 6 more months serving their master before they will be free. And now that they are done with the trade, they now start going out there to search for jobs, and they get jobs working under somebody else, maybe working under a contractor and stuff like that. And I observed a pattern. A very strange pattern, a very worrying pattern. I observed that people who take the contracts for these jobs, people who take the multi-million naira contract for the job, the contract ranging from 5, 10, 20, 15 million plus, they don't know the skill. They don't know what we call the terminologies that we use in our field. They don't know all of these things. But they are the ones getting the contract. When they get the contract, they will reach out to us. We that are the skilled men who spent years learning and developing our craft, gaining mastery in our art. We are the ones that they will call to come and get the job done. And these men don't even know those small terminologies we call them. But they will drive with their Sienna, they will drive with their car, they will park into the site, and everybody will be giving them respect. Oh, engineer don't come, oh, contractor don't come. And they will come and meet us in the scaffold where we are working, and they will say, oh boy, what's going on? We'll say, sir, what is going on, sir? He say, this place, have you done this place? Sir, we'll do it now after we finish this one, sir. So the Holy Ghost was speaking to me. What do these people know? People that are taking this contract in 5 million. What do they know that we learned this skill for 3-4 years? We don't know. And then the Holy Ghost revealed to me that these people, you yourself, you learned the skill. These people, they know the business of the skill. Now, this is to make you understand that the skill is not enough to make you successful. The skill is not enough to make you a success. So we have people who are tilers in our training. We have people who are skilled men, artisans in our training. We have those who are renowned engineers in our team, in our training. We also have those who are graduates of civil engineering in our team. The skill that you've learned will not make you successful. We have electricians and plumbers in our team. in our training, TSCM, the Stage Contractor Masterclass. But we want to make you understand that the skill that you have learned is not enough to make you successful. You need to learn the business of the skill. It is the business of the skill that gives the difference, that turns the story around. Because you can be skilled and you can still be broke. You can be skilled and you can still lack jobs. You can be skilled and you can still be eating from hand to mouth. I know a lot of skilled men in the industry who are barely getting by. They are barely getting by. Why? Because they don't know the business of the skill. And here with you, my friends, we'll be discussing the business of the skill, because being a contractor is learning business of the skills within the building industry. Learning the skills, because when I became a contractor, I stopped offering services. People no longer reach out to me for the only skill I learned. Now I can now offer and provide services for other skills I had never learned. I don't need to know electrical engineering. I don't need to know plumbing, because plumbing is a very good skill. It's a very lucrative skill. But here in Nigeria, they mess it up. If you are a plumber, you work somewhere in South America, you work somewhere in Texas, you are a millionaire overnight. You're a millionaire overnight because your skill is in high demand. Your skill is in high demand. People drop out from high school just to go and learn trade in the US. And those people are earning from $100,000 to $130,000 to $200 and something thousand per annum. It's a money-making skill. But that's something we'll discuss later on. We'll talk about how to leverage. No, I never done them yet. So when I have done it, we can exchange the knowledge. All right. So now, understand, as a contractor, you are somebody who offers services. Because there are people who they already have internal biases in their mind. They don't believe that people can earn money easily. In fact, they feel guilty when they earn money without putting effort. Now, every money you will make, you will require effort. But there are people, in fact, it is enshrined in our consciousness that we have to literally labor. We have to labor for us to make a dime. So if you have this philosophy about money, it is going to be a problem. That's why we have these orientational classes, because becoming a contractor is as easy as ABCD. You can set up your company in the next following week and you are good to go. You will get everything ready and you are good to go. You will start getting contracts. People will start contacting you. You will start closing your deals and getting jobs ready and done and delivered. It is not a very hard thing to understand. But what is very difficult that we need to break is the thinking pattern that many people are coming in with. Is the thinking pattern. Excuse me. It's a thinking pattern. All right. So hang on, guys. It's a thinking pattern. All right. So the thinking pattern is what we want to dissolve. So there are many people who don't believe that you can earn money without little or no effort. So when they earn money in what appears to be a seemingly easy way, it almost feels like they are criminals. I can connect somebody here to a job that you can do. I can connect somebody here now to a job that you can do that will earn you 500,000 naira in 2 weeks. I will say, hey, don't do like this. Hey, don't say like this. Hey, send them this. In fact, don't even do anything. Our company will do it for you. Just stand and watch, because we have such opportunity. We have such privilege to stand and watch. Once you get a job, because we are contractors to train here. So when they get contract, they don't really know exactly, even after they train, they don't really know exactly how to get this whole thing done. So we say, hey, don't worry, you have the company with you. Say whatever contract the company is, it's a partnership deal. All right, the company, and I will send you a contractor that will facilitate the process with you, show you how things are being done, and you make money. So there are somebody who worked for, and after money enter in hand, profit 300,000 naira instantly. It almost felt like it was a criminal offense that he had committed. He had this internal guilt from nowhere, because it is, in fact, it is overriding every single program that has been in his mind. So he's like, why am I making such a money like this without putting any much effort? There is no, I did not tack trailer, I did not tumble one building, I did not scatter 10-story building. Why am I getting 300,000 just within three days? That's an average of of what's it called? That's an average of 100,000 naira per day. Just earlier this year, I've been making money like this, but for the first time I was just calculating it. Just earlier this week, we had a job that only lasted for 5 days, just say roughly 1 week, and I had 500,000 as my profit cash. Now, in our company, we have a policy. If you're a worker in our company, in Build Golden Construction Company, if you're a worker in BGCC, in any category of level worker you are, your basic feeding, your transportation, and your basic medication is taken care of by the company. They say the money plenty. In fact, they find money past everybody for the company. But it's the policy we keep in place because we know the company we're trying to build. It's a company where it takes care of each worker. So in that particular site, we had at least 15 men on ground. Each man was consuming at least 1,500 to 2,000 naira per day because they eat twice, at least twice in that site. Twice in that site. They are one man. So we are spending close to 20-something, 30-something, 40-something thousand naira every single day on feeding. And there is no restriction. Eat as you can. Some people will take a plate, they will take extra. I say take the bottle of, tell them take a what's it called, have a drink, to join the drink. Take the one they will carry go site. Some people they fold and carry go site. It's just a company policy. Unapologetically, it's a company policy. There was the time 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, that one of our workers was sick. He had to leave. He was he is in a different local government from where we are. So I told him, hey, come, we sent him transport, he had to come join us here. And he was having some serious health issues. He has been taking local medication. He was having a malaria and typhoid outside. I think that's what it is. Because in Nigeria, was anybody sick, it just sums up of malaria and typhoid. So we took him to the site and we observed that he was slow than usual. And his look was just somehow. So I said, hey, what's wrong? So he told me, disclosed to me that I had it. I said, you cannot be working with us and you are sick. Now, forgive me, I'm not trying to sound like one kind of big man or one kind of good or that, but it's just company policy and that's also my nature. I said, you cannot be working with us and you are sick. Why didn't you tell us? So let's go and get you medication. So I sent him with one of our supervisors, myself, to went to get him a medication because I was going to leave after that. So there was a pharmacy just a few clicks away from here we were. So we took him there. And the drug, everything came out about 5,000 or 8,000 there, but I know it's not less than 5,000. It's not higher than 10,000. So let's just say 5,000 to 8,000 naira. So we paid the money, and this guy was afraid because literally that was his daily work. That was a day plus, a daily work plus. So I said, oh boy, it's just company's policy. You don't have to pay for it. It's just company policy, and it's one of our most loyal ASCOMs we have in our company. We call them ASCOMs, ASCOM. People who work on different fields. You can call them handymen, you can call them workmen. It depends on your. But in our company, we call them ASCOMs. It's an abbreviation. It has a name. We call them ASCOMs. So that guy is ASCOM Kelvin. All right. So that's the policy of our company. So in that particular site, we spent roughly 100 and something thousand naira in the space of 1 week just for the feeding of our men. 100 and something thousand naira. In that site, I had money that I used in buying some electronics, some gadgets, money for every other necessities, everything. In fact, I had money I gave people for free. Literally, you call it dash. I had money to buy new clothes and everything. In fact, in that site, I even bought a new phone, a phone of 150,000. I bought a new phone. I bought 2 phones, actually 2 new phones, costing 200 and something thousand naira. And after everything was done, I had 500,000 naira with me as my profit. So I'm just trying to make you guys understand the scope of our work. So being a contractor is a very lucrative skill. It's not just a skill, it's a career. It's a profession. Being a contractor is a profession, it's a career, it's a skill. All right? It's a profession, it's a career, it's a skill. And if when mastered and properly mastered, it is something that is very lucrative as well. Because there is a high demand of contractors in Nigeria. There is a high demand of skilled men in Nigeria. Look into Nigeria, it's today a fast developing economy. It's a developing country. Prediction shows that Nigeria in the next 2 to 5 decades will experience a surge in its population. According to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, or maybe you might want to start with the basic needs of man, we have food, clothing, and shelter. Nigeria is 218 million people right now. Our housing deficit is 20 million. For us to offset the housing deficit, we need 700,000 homes to be built every single year. And we are still falling short of it. Real estate sector in Nigeria is booming. In fact, it is raising a generation of millionaires. Real estate sector is booming in Nigeria. People who are buying the land, better build the house. Who are the ones who are going to build the house for them? People who are building the house, they're not going to do tiling, they're not going to do plumbing, they're not going to do electrical, they're not going to do interior designs. Who are the people that will carry out these jobs? So you see, there's a massive need of people in this industry, but everybody's going towards tech, everybody's going towards tech, fashion, and those. But the construction industry, the real estate, in fact, the building industry, because according to my BIT concept, BIT, Building Industry Triangle by Gold Ubachukwu, the building industry has three sectors. We have the real estate, we have the building construction, and we have the building services industry. It's an umbrella industry under the building industry. So we have three major industries under the building industry, which is the real estate, the building construction, and the building services. Now, building services are the skills and the services that are required to make a building a very, Mr. Bush is welcome. A building services is all the services that comes together to make a building a comfortable, a nice place that people can live and dwell in. For example, once you want to get a land, you buy the land, that's real estate. It ends there. Next thing you need is construction. You need the technical people, the architect and the engineers to come together to convert what you have on the paper, on the plan, to reality. That is the construction. They are going to leave you with what we call an uncompleted building. An uncompleted building. Now imagine an uncompleted building. Take your time. Imagine an uncompleted building. Now that is the work of construction. But the building is not done. It's not, people cannot move into the building. It's not nice for people to move into an uncompleted building. Alright, to live in another. Now, by the way, I myself, I live in an uncompleted building. You understand? That's part of my story. Alright? So, but it's not ideal for people to naturally live in an uncompleted building. So, but you need other services to come together to make that building the comfortable place that people can live in. What are these buildings? You need painting, tiling, screeding, POP, furniture works, interior designs, stamp concrete. There are lots of skills that come together. In our company, we offer over 60 different building services. And last time I checked, building services can be in hundreds, because every single day new ideas are coming in, new concepts are coming in, and these are changing the way we do things. So this is how lucrative being a contractor is. Now let me break this down. A contractor is not somebody that does the work, because this is the part that confuses people well. And this is the part that people don't understand. The contractor is not somebody that does the work. The contractor is simply somebody that provides these services, that manage the operation of these services in any client's sites. The construction is the person who carry out the administrative and managerial process to ensure that the work is done. As a contractor, we have a saying in our training: as a contractor, your work is not to do the job. Your job is not to do the job. Your job is to get the job done. You are the one who go out and get the right people to come and work in the company, to come and work in the site. You are the one who go out and get. This analogy is for. Remember, we talked about the cash flow quadrant, and I made an example of the self-employed contractors. Now, the self-employed contractors, because I used to be one, I had transitioned from a mere workman to a contractor. Now, the self-employed contractor does not have any system in place. So he is the one that normally they go out and search for workers to come and do the job, ensure that the job is done, administrate everything. Meanwhile, the big business contractor, he already have these people on ground. He does not even need to scout for anybody. He has these people on ground. He does not just have contact. He has converted those contacts to his workforce. This is the difference. You understand? Because we too in our company, we have contractors with us, subcontractors. We'll talk about that later. We have subcontractors who are working with us. In fact, many of the workmen who are working with us, they are subcontractors. They don't know that they are subcontractors. See, a name is very powerful. A name is very powerful. If you don't know the importance of the power of a name, somebody can be useless or you can be powerful. What you call something will determine what that thing will behave. The reason why we call a bottle is simple. It's a bottle. Why do we call color red? Why is this thing called bottle? It's because it's called bottle. It's as simple as that. It's a naming effect. Let me digress a bit. When I started my journey about, let me say, 10 years ago, all right, technically 8 or 9 now. When I started my journey, I had transitioned from a mere workman to a contractor. So people that I told you my story. A lot of people who knew me as a POP guy, even till now, I still have people on Facebook. When somebody is requesting for a POP services, they will tag me. And I used to get offended by this whole thing because I feel like, and I'm supposed to don't know, say I'm wrong big past this level. You understand? People are very funny. You understand? They will see the big one, they will not call you, but when they see the small one, work, they will call you to come and do those things. People who they don't want to acknowledge your growth. So I had a problem. So I had been a POP man all for a very long time, offering the services until I now had to transition from a contractor. I had a very big problem transitioning to a contractor. Do you know why? Because people who knew me before, they know me as a workman. So the way that they speak to me was like a workman. The way that they talk, I have lost contracts just because I speak in English. Contract from the hour. You understand? All those funny contracts. You understand? So because what? You speak in English, people get offended when they speak English. Who they phone for? But then I realized that these are not my target clients. You need to know the place you want to operate. Not every job should be calling you. Now, this is something we will learn. Like I told you, we are just going to sweep through everything today. We'll be rounding up in the next 15 minutes max. It's already late. So tomorrow we go in details, because I want these fundamental ideas to be enshrined in everybody's consciousness. So I had the problem of naming. Naming is very important, because as you guys are starting now already, many people in our training, they are workmen, they are plumbers, they are electricians, they are tilers, they do stamp concretes, they have 1 or 2 building services work like that. So now they have attended a training that equips them on becoming contractors. They have attended a training that equips them on becoming contractors. As you are going back to start your contracting business, there are people who feel that they already know you, so therefore they want to mold you into the box that you are living. They want to fit. So you need to, these are things that we'll discuss later, but they're not today. But we need to be conscious of these things, because naming is important. So I had a problem with naming. I tell people that, hey, I am a contractor. It took me a time for me to hit my hand on the chest to say, hey, I am a contractor. Stop calling me a workman. From people that I know, people that have seen I started calling myself a contractor. Now people call me a contractor. People now call me the youngest contractor in Nigeria. People now call me a contractor golden. Why? Because I had to fight to change that name. Because if people see you as a workman, they will take you as a workman. There are people who give my number to people some years back just to request for my services, and they tell this guy, they do POP well. So they give the persons my number. So when the people are calling me, they already have an idea of what somebody who is doing a POP should sound like and look like and behave like. So, but when they pick the call and call me, in fact, in the first few seconds, they will just move the phone from their ear and look at the number. Why? Just to cross-check. Are you sure that I didn't call the wrong number? Because the person who is calling, the person you are calling is not speaking. Hello, okay, and good day. Yes. I mean, POP man, I don't do that shit. I don't do that. I run a company. I'm the executive director of Build Golden Construction Company, one of Nigeria's foremost and best construction and building services company ever. You have to learn how to call things that are not as though they were, and you have to behave like where you are going to. You understand? Because it will determine the kind of clients you attract, the kind of jobs that they give you, and how much that they pay you. These are things we'll learn later. So your composure too is very important as a contractor. Your composure. How do you present yourself? How do you communicate on phone? What are the phone etiquettes you know? People don't call you, you begin to ask guys. You speak well like you are expecting a multi-million naira call. I get pissed off when I talk to some of my tradesmen and they're acting like cows and frustrated animals. Forgive me, this is the part I get through. You understand? You call somebody a business line and you are acting like one kind thing that they just brought from one kind Ikorodu monkey village. When you pick a phone like now, because the exercise we are going to do, this training is not just designed to just take your money. We want you to become a contractor, because now we're integrating you to our community of contractors, International Stage Contractors Community, ISCC. We're integrating you into our community of contractors. So there is a way that we're expecting you to behave. There is a way that we're expecting you to act. There is a common culture that would want to see you manifesting, that will help you become successful. It is going to be of my delight and my honor to know that I am somebody that God used to help people to become the light, to become brighter. So one thing you need to know, we are going to do exercises. It's not something that once we talk finish, we leave you and either you get contract. We will help you. For those who are willing to work, for those who are willing, you will put in the effort. It's work. You want to count millions, you want to get contracts, 5 million, 10 million, 50 million, and you could, it's not a problem. You can do that. But have you developed the skill set? Have you developed there are people who even despise me because I'm young. There are people who despise me. Just you can even see the pride manifesting from them. If you had known what I know, you would have been doing better by now. So that would have at least given you a little bit of humility to listen to me and listen keenly. So because you're going to do that an exercise, and this exercise will create a template for you, a profile, and even a web page. But these are all paid at the end. We'll show you them. They're all paid. All right. Because we as a company, we are transitioning from general contractor. Last year, we are working in the whole of systems in our company. We are trying to transition from a 100% service company to a 90% product company. There's a reason for that. There are great visions and ideas God has given to us that we want to begin to implement with no time. So we need money to start those things. Last year I was on my way. I was trying to gather 20 million for something we are trying to manufacture. It's a new life that we are doing. So we don't want to be. We used to have more. Our major focus was general contracting. Now we are trying to move. Even the general contracting itself, we didn't even do it as we are even supposed to do it. It is even from this year that we'll start doing it, but it will not even become the major focus of our company because there are other things we want to start doing. So the knowledge we've accumulated over the years, if what this experience of over 8 years, if you can harness it, is experience from personal experience, knowledge from personal experience and book learning and research. If you can harness it, you will make more money and wealth. In fact, where we are ending today might even be your beginning, and even greater. All right, so that's why we're teaching you all of this so that you can learn and you can become better. So we are going to carry out exercises to help you to reach out to people. As I'm talking to you right now, there is a $1 million contract involving around you. The reason it's not going to come to you is because you don't have the skills yet. You don't have the knowledge yet to carry that contract. There are building projects around you that many of you would have been contracting right by now. But why it's key to is because you are not yet a contractor. That is why this training is for you. So that any job, any millions that is coming, you will not be, somebody will not be taking it where you can do it. All right. So we having live practical sessions to ensure that this training adds value to your life. That is the essence of what we are doing right now. All right. So again, you need to learn phone etiquette. When somebody is calling you on your phone from now on, because what we are going to do is going to make people to be calling your contacts to be demanding for your services. You need to know how to contact, how to make a call. I don't know about you, but me, my target audience is not people who don't have money. For you to call a contractor to handle your building project for you, it means you have money to pay. Except like some Nigerians would want to do, they want to micromanage everybody in the site. If you have the strength for that, then you don't need me. If you have the knowledge, everything. But if you want to have peace of mind and ensure that your project goes smoothly and successful, you get a contractor. Somebody who is experienced, somebody who knows how to manage everything, somebody who runs a company. All right. So these are some of the advantages that you would have after now. So when people call you on your phone, have an idea that $1 million contract, $10 million contract can be calling you. Sometimes make call in a matured way. Don't be doing hello, how do you get my number? Who are you? Don't do that. You're chasing people away. How would you expect somebody who has $10 million to give for you to do a job? You'd be speaking to the person like the person selling is cutting meat in the market. So your phone etiquette matters a lot. All right. So there are lots of things we have to discuss, but we're already out of time. I am not out of words, but I'm out of time. There are lots of things to discuss. We've not even started. Saying we've scratched the surface and on a statement, we've not even started. All of this is what we call preamble, just to get your mind ready. To get your mind ready for what is to come. Is to make your mind to be a fertile ground. Basically, this is ovulation period. So that we are discussing as we are going for that, it is entering. We don't have time. All right, we don't have time. All right, so at this moment, if you have any questions, please do well to ask me. You can leave your questions as a comment all right, in this forum, in this group, or you can comment under this video or under this audio, depends on which platform you're listening from. All right, so do well to ask me a question. All right, do well to ask me a question. So remember, we talked about the cash flow quadrant by Robert T. Kiyosaki. We talked about 4 major ways people earn money. We talked about the employees, the self-employed, the big business owners, and the investors. All right, if I never talked about the investors are those who have their money working for them. They invest their monies in business, in stocks, in real estate, in bonds, all right, in the financial industry. And money works for them. But for you to invest and buy shares and bonuses, you have to make money first of all. I bet you make. I think, can anybody hear me? All right, back. So we are just 10 minutes to 1 hour. All right, so that is it. So we talked about a whole lot of things which I would want to go emphasize. So do also listen to this audio and let the information digest. I am your man, I am your guy, I am your brother. All right. So I want us to grow together. I want us to become successful. So understand that being a contractor can be a blessing to your life. I understand that being a contractor can be a blessing to your life. I am going to end give you this analogy. So last year, by the same time last year, when we started this training officially, a few months before then, we already started. All right, but officially started TSCM and ISCC officially last year by this time. So I remember I told some of my students, and I said something. Many times we all pray for God to help us, we all pray for God to bless us, we all pray for God to ensure that we end this year with a Hummer Jeep, with a very big house, with wonderful things, with millions in our account. But not that God is not really answering our prayer, but the problem is us. We don't have a container to contain what God wants to give to us. So people are asking God for a house, for a mansion. Meanwhile, what they have is a spoon. You know, a spoon is also a container. That's why we have things like a spoonful of this, a spoonful of salt, a spoonful of pepper. So people are asking God for this and that, and what they have is a small cup, a small teacup. We are asking God for things that we don't have the capacity to contain. And there is this analogy that says that God is like a river that never runs dry. You can never exhaust God. You can never exhaust God. You know, He's inexhaustible. If you go with a cup, it's going to fill it. If you go with a jug, it's going to fill it. You go with a bucket, it's going to fill it. You go with a tank, it's going to fill it. You go with a drum, it's going to fill it. You go with a GP tank, you fill it. If you like, go with a container, a tanker, it's going to fill it. Whatever the capacity is, God will fill it. But the problem is that many of us have not developed capacity, and we don't have a container that has capacity to receive what we are asking God for. It is almost unrealistic for somebody who is an aboki that sews shoe to pray for God to give him 10 million naira before the end of the year. When you know that the skill that you carry, you can even hardly make up to 100,000 naira in a month from that particular skill. And even if God bless you, you make 100,000 in a month. If you do so for the next 12 months, that's only 1.2 million naira. It's not even enough. So, but you know one thing about this particular career path you are in right now, it is something that can transform your life forever. If you are praying for God for a 10 million naira in your account, only one contract can solve your problem forever. Only one contract can give you a jeep. Only one contract can give you a house. Only one contract can fly abroad. Only one contract can solve your problem. You know why? Because being a contractor is a skill that is expandable. It's a skill, it's a career that does not have any limitation or financial cap, a limitation on it. It doesn't have the cap. It's as much as you can carry, as much as the capacity can carry, as much as you can handle, and as much as you can attract. All right. So that is one of the beauty of this training. But I would want to encourage us. Many of us come here to learn how to make money. But I want you also to understand that in as much as you are learning how to make money being a contractor, everybody making money from different ways. People who are teachers in the school, they're doing it to make money. People who are medicine doctors, they're doing it to make money. People who are lawyers, they are in it for the money. Contracting is the career and is also for the money. But for you to become a very effective contractor, if your mind is so focused about money, you might not really see it. The other things you have to focus on being a better person. Number one, be a better person. Many of us here, I can't really vouch for your integrity. So if your job is coming my way, let's use this one and empower one of our students. How sure am I that if 10 million naira get into your hand now, will not begin to use GPS and microscope and telescope to search for you? So first thing first, develop your person. Be a good person by default. Be a good person by default. Nobody better born us. We all came to this world naked. And naked we will leave except with a piece of clothes. Nothing else. Alright? So be a good person. Be a good person. Be a good person. Some of us will have bad character. Bad character. You keep malice with everybody. How you want to make money as a contractor? Because what we are doing is a people's business. If people don't know you, people don't like you, if people don't trust you, how can they trust you and give you money? How can they trust you and give you contracts? You are not making friends. Everybody's your enemy. You keep malice unnecessarily. Your understanding is so flawed. You see A, you call it B. So first thing first, develop your personality. Be a good person. Be a good person. Be a good person, because money they smell person when they feel attracted. There are people who they will not see money, not because they are not working hard, not because they're not prayerful enough, not because God is not answering, but because they have a bad mind and a bad spirit. If money enter their hands, then instead of helping people, they will oppress people. They will, in fact, they will even want people to lie on the ground for them to step on them. These are attitude and attributes that will prevent money from coming to you, because the Bible makes us understand that the blessings that God is the one who gives love to people. So if your heart is too heavy, it carry grudges unnecessarily, it will not be of any value to you. You will see yourself repelling blessings that you are attracting them. All right. So be a good person. Be a good person. I don't know your religion, and trust me, what matters is that God is real. God is real, and God answers prayer. I'm a young man who, from nothing, God is helping me to becoming somebody. And I know how I started. I have been homeless before. I have slept in a church. For 8 months straight, I have lived in an uncompleted building. I have seen shade in different spectrums. But here I am today by God's special grace. I run a company. People are not contracting us to work on. I have worked for pastors, for people in politics, for people in the military, for people in, God has been faithful. We are making progress, still moving. All right? But it all begins with a decision not to be a bad person. I would have been a Yahoo boy with all my IT and tech skills. All of this energy I'm using to add value to people now, I would have been using to steal money from people. But I decided. There were days I was tempted to go into wrong, but I decided that that is not going to be the best way, because the Bible makes me understand that the blessings of the Lord make it rich and added no sorrow. So I want everybody who speaks, both men and women, please, let's work on ourselves to be a good person. We were not born with any skill, with any knowledge. We learned everything. Who you are right now, you will learn it. So you can learn on being a good person. You can learn good communication. You can learn manners. You can learn humility. Because you learned pride, you can learn humility. All right? There are people who are younger that have taught me something. I will still consider them my mentor in that particular field. All right? Humility is also important. All right? So be a better person. You should be the most person we should be working on. Be a better person. All right? If you have enemy now, go and make resolution. Go and solve them. Forgive. The person that offended you, he's living his life, enjoying himself, but you are the one who is holding him with your spirit. You are the one who is not going further. So you need to learn how to forgive so that God's blessing can enter your life. Because after now, this is a training that we have covenant with God. If you are here, there is a significant level of success and progress you're supposed to start seeing. It's a prayer we prayed, and we trust God who will answer it. But if your heart is not right with Him, you're on your own. You're on your own. So please, my brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, as we are going for the money, let's also focus on developing our personality. Because bad personality will repel good blessings. And the blessings come from God. Alright? So I want to let you know that God loves you all and Jesus loves you all. Thank you so much for your time. Tomorrow we'll continue the same time by 9 p.m. My name is Ubachukwu, Executive Director of Build Golden Construction Company, BGCC, one of Nigeria's first youth-led building services construction company. Alright, I'm also the national chairman of I'm also the national chairman of WUBI, Workers Union of the Building Industry, and I'm also the commander-in-chief of International Sage Contractors Community, ISCC. Thank you so much for listening. So I want to believe that we had a very wonderful session today. at the Sage Contractor Masterclass. If you have any questions, please do also ask me. Drop a comment. All right, drop a comment in this group where everybody can see, so that we can answer the question and everybody will gain value from it. So thank you very much. See you this same time, 9 p.m., 9 p.m., depending on your batch. All right, tomorrow. God bless you. Remain in power. Golden Ubachukwu.